Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So today is not clickbait. The title here, How to Get Rich During a Pandemic. I really do mean that. And I need to start off with a few caveats first, like a few clarifying points. Right now is very troublesome time for many people. Many people have lost their jobs. And I would assume that that's going to continue. So this is not a video about how to take advantage of anybody else. This is not a video about how to sell masks at 10 times the price or any other protective equipment. This actually is kind of the opposite of that, right? Never before has there been, well, in my lifetime, I've never seen an event like this before. And I think it's safe to say never before has there been an event like this before that is such a big opportunity for people. And I know that saying that is going to be controversial for people because they're going to say, well, people are dying, people have lost their jobs, and all of that is true, and all of that is terrible. And I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody with this information. I'm not trying to do anything negative. But what I'm trying to say here is that what investors look for is a change in the market. What investors look for is when the market goes down, they want to buy. It's as simple as that. They want to buy low and sell high. And right now, everything globally is going down. And it's going to probably continue to go down for some time. And so what I want to talk about today is no matter what your situation is, whether you have a lot of money, whether you have no money, I believe there's opportunities for all of us. And I want to share some of my thoughts with you. And hopefully you can share some of your thoughts with me as well in the comments below. I've got several ideas for you, and I'm sure there's a lot more out there just because the environment right now is changing so quickly. There's so many opportunities. Every time I turn around, there's a new company doing amazing things, and it's just the beginning, right? So if you're new here, welcome to the travel blog where there's no traveling because of the pandemic. So looking back, I probably would have been smarter making something else, but this is a travel vlog with no travel, but maybe one day we will travel again. So there's that. If you're new here and you want to be alerted to new content, please hit the subscribe button down below. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. That will really let me know what content you like and what content I should focus on in the future. So I would really appreciate that. So let's take a look. Let's get into the details here. What am I talking about, right? So let's start off with the very basic stuff that will apply to most of us. Just the pure investment play and what that would look like right now, right? So, the thing that we often hear is buy low, sell high. Don't do the opposite of that. Many people get freaked out when the market goes down and they sell low and buy high and they lose a bunch of money. Don't do that. I know how concerning it can be when that happens, when the market crashes, when it goes down. You're like, I got to get my money out. It's too late. It's too late by then, right? Really, if you're investing in something in the stock market, unless you're day trading or unless you're really good at bringing your money in and out of that market, you can't time the market. That's the old expression that they also say is you can't time the market, but you can have time in the market. And that's really what it's all about, right? Is I'm a big fan of dollar cost averaging, where I'm putting a little bit in, seeing what happens. If it goes down, well, maybe I buy a little bit more. If it's a good company, that's probably what I'm going to do. So a lot of the really popular companies that I buy, I keep buying a little bit every time they go down. Right now, they've all gone down a lot, right? And it's fluctuating. Right now, the market's bouncing around, and that's good for investors, right? So they can time it when it goes down. Let's say on Monday it goes down, on Tuesday it goes back up. So maybe I want to sell some on Tuesday, or maybe I wait till Wednesday and I buy some more. So it's really volatile right now, and for day traders, that's great. They can make a lot of money. But I think for us long-term investors, and I say us because most of us are not day traders, most of us don't look at our portfolio on a daily basis, and I think that's fine. I think that if we've got some money in our retirement plan, and it's called something different in every country, so I'm just going to call it the retirement plan that you've got, then maybe you want to top up some areas. if you can. So I think that it's a great opportunity for that. It's a great opportunity to buy more stock. And I wouldn't get too concerned about, well, should I buy it today or should I wait a month? Buy a little bit when it goes down. And if it goes down even more, buy a little bit more if you can. So let's say you have $1,000, and it's an arbitrary number. It could be any amount. Maybe you want to spend $250 today when it goes down. Maybe you want to wait a month or a week or whatever and spend another $250, right? Don't spend it all at once if you can help it. Typically, the trades are like $5 to $10, depending on what system you're using. So you can do that, right? You're going to make the $5 or $10 if you just leave it in there for, a little while. I would think that you should be able to at least double your money. So that's a 50% gain when you buy one of these companies when they're at an all-time low, right? And most of these companies have either reached that all-time low this month or will. And I think that we're going to see more volatility, which is going to give you more opportunities. So I should also say I am not a financial advisor. So if you're working with a financial advisor, then talk to them about this strategy. That is going to be the best option for you. They know your portfolio. They know your risk levels. I don't. I'm just some guy talking on the internet, right? So I think when you're looking at your livelihood, you need to do that. You need to do your homework. I'm just giving you some general ideas that I think are going to be good for most of you to think about, at least, right? So, and I'm sure most of you are already thinking that if you can. Not being a financial advisor, I would say that, for me, I would recommend people look at indexes or ETFs. ETFs for me are kind of the best thing that's come along in the investment world in a long time. A lot of benefits that stocks provide, although, and also the nice diversification that mutual funds provide, although I don't have all the overhead that a mutual fund and all the bad things that come with mutual funds. So, if you want something that's low maintenance, that can really give you some good returns, I like ETFs. You can get some dividend-based ETFs. You can get some 3 times leveraged ETFs. You can do all sorts of fun things with ETFs. So I recommend taking a look at those as your investment vehicle. I do think that's well worth, especially as an entry-level or intermediate investor. All right. So the investment area, I think that's the first thing to look at. Look at your portfolio. If you don't have a portfolio right now, if you just lost your job, this is going to be difficult. So I'm not advocating that you go out and put all your cash into that necessarily. That would not be step one if you just lost your job, but many of you have. So let's get into some other areas that are going to help you a little bit more. So the next area to look at is government assistance. And that may be a bit of a dirty word for some of you, especially, if you've been working hard your entire life and now you're unemployed, and the idea of going to the government to get money is not appealing to many of you. But, think about it. I mean, you've been paying taxes for years for that service, for that safety net. So the sooner you do it, the better off you're going to be. Go get that money. It's, the packages out there now are better. So really, I think if you're in that situation, you need to get on that right away. Is basically what it boils down to. And if you're a small business, there's also options for you there. There's money that you can get where you get some of it as a loan, and some of it you can avoid paying back as well, which is nice. So I would definitely spend the time and effort to look into that to get what you need. And the sooner, don't delay. A lot of people will delay that, thinking, well, I'm going to get another job pretty soon. Don't. Just go do that. That should be step one, right? Before anything else. I mean, cutting your expenses is a close step too, but I would go do that right away. The next thing I want to talk about is many of us, I think right now, if we're still employed, we're thinking, oh, no, yeah, everything's good. I'm still employed. And I would say that's probably, we don't want to be lazy, right? We don't want to assume anything at this point. I think that it would be prudent to start looking at multiple channels of income. And no matter what the situation is, I cannot think of a situation where you would not want multiple channels of income, even if those other channels are very small and your primary channel is really big. An example of that would be if you have a day job with an employer and it's your career and it's going good, that's going to be probably your primary income. And maybe you have some hobbies on the side where you're not yet making money, but you could. or maybe you're making a little bit of money. Well, maybe you're making a lot for all I know, but even a little bit is actually really good. The reason why is because if you lose your day job, you can now turn the tap on that hobby a little bit more. You can invest more time in that hobby. If you've got roots already going, where you're already making a little bit of money, to grow that into something is so much easier than trying to start from scratch. So multiple channels of income, I think, are things to think about if you don't have that already. Now, I have to warn you, however, that if you do have a day job right now, which is stable, and you have a good employer and things are going good, do not jeopardize that with a risky move. Make sure that whatever you're doing on the side, if you're doing some sort of side hustle, make sure that's legit and that won't interfere with your day job. So a couple things there that you need to do. One is take a look at your employer, take a look at the policies they have, maybe talk to somebody there about whatever you're planning, and make sure that that's not going to be frowned upon, because the last thing you want to do is go do some side hustle, some part-time job, some hobby, some investment, or something like that that's going to get you fired, right? Especially right now, that's not what you want. So make sure that you're in the right, that you don't have the risk by doing that. And then once you've kind of made sure that that looks okay, then you can proceed in a more safe manner. But you want to be really careful there and not jeopardize what you already have. But having said that, I think we need to be more active than we ever were in this area, right? Because the likelihood that you're going to get laid off over the next month or two is higher than it's ever been. And I would assume very few of us, unless you have your own business and it's doing great, which many of you aren't, there's risk there. So I would start looking at what your options are for those multiple channels of income. And if you're a dual income family where both you and your spouse are working, I would say you both need to take a look at that. And maybe you can team up on something, right? Maybe you can both start your own business or something like that. So, I would definitely advocate for that. And then you never know what that can turn into, right? So it's always a good thing to take a look at. Well, not always, but most of the time. All right, so if you've got your own business, and that could be, you've been operating your own business for a while, or maybe you're just wanting to start your own business, maybe you've got a hobby that you're doing right now, all of those things apply. Maybe you're just thinking about it. This would apply to all of those, right? If you've got an existing business, depending on the type of business it is, if it's a brick and mortar business or if it's an online business, you've got different challenges right now. It was hard enough to have your own business before. But now, if you're not, on the right side of things right now, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So there's a bunch of things that we need to do here, right? So the first thing is, and I see so many businesses struggling with this, and I don't know why. To me, it's a no-brainer, right? We are living in a virtual world, and that door swung open fully about a month ago. And people are still slow to realize that. I think the problem is a lot of businesses are so invested in their traditional style that was kind of working for them before, but I would bet that not the potential that it could. They're thinking, well, things are going to get back to normal pretty soon. No, they're not, right? You need to look at your business, and for so many reasons, survival being one of them, right? So look at your business and think, how have I adapted to the situation? And if you have not, if you're just waiting, what are you waiting for, right? The bus of prosperity is not going to stop where you are, right? Like, it's time to shift gears. There's so much potential on the upside and so much risk on the downside for you that if you have that, I just don't understand it. Like, this is such a great opportunity for you. And if you don't seize it, somebody else will, and you'll be gone, right? If you're not already suffering, right? So I would look at your business. Are you a brick and mortar company? Do you have sites all over the place that nobody's going to now? Or are you virtual? If you're virtual, if you're serving the virtual customer base, you're so much better off. I'm looking at all these different companies where people are not showing up. They're not showing up to their events. They're not showing up to their store. They're not showing up to their company. They're not showing up, and they're not going to. So how do you change? How do you change that service? If you've got a product, start delivering. But don't just deliver it. Deliver it with like so much class and value that you make Amazon Prime look primitive, right? Amazon Prime is the standard. So free delivery. Don't charge me for delivery. Don't give me any customs tax or any of that garbage, right? I want to have my product delivered to me for free. I want to see where it is at every step of the way. Like there's apps out there like Arrive or Arrival. I love it. I have it on my phone. I know where my package is. I know when it's dropped off at my door. I see the guy pull up at my door on my CCTV, and my app tells me when he's like a couple feet from my door. When the package goes into my mailbox, I get a text message on my phone. Then I know when to haul my lazy ass over to the mailbox to actually pick it up. I'm not moving until I get that text message, right? Does your company do that? It should, right? That's the world we're living in, right? Where I want to know, and don't send me an email about how great your COVID-19 response team is, right? I'm not reading that. I'm just deleting it. I don't care. You have to act and not talk. So talk's cheap, right? I don't want to see the email from your CEO saying how great a job you're doing. None of that matters. Everybody's sending those out, and I just set up the spam filter for all of those now. So you need to change your business to focus on the new world, right? That's really where we're going with this. And delivery is a great option, right? Because that's all we care about right now, right? I want to have everything from my food to everything delivered, like everything. I was an Amazon Prime member before, and now it's still pretty good, except the value's gone down because I don't get it same day. I don't get it next day. I don't even get it this week. I get it like in 2 weeks if I'm lucky. So I don't know where half my stuff is, but I guess that's the world now, and hopefully they'll sort that out. But Amazon Prime was the go-to, setting the bar for delivery. You could now come in there and do something really interesting with some technology. So that's definitely, if you're doing a product, that would be the way to go to focus on that, I would expect, right? People don't want to meet with you. So if you're in sales and you're selling whatever it is, people don't want to meet with you to go over your stuff, right? Send them a free sample. Send them a video conference. Send them, virtual ticket to some online performance, right? Do that sort of stuff, and people will like you for it, right? And will gravitate towards that. But so many companies are not doing that. There's so many opportunities, right? Esports, great, right? They're taking off. I mean, I always knew they would. I invested in them about a year ago because I knew that's where we're headed. But right now it's anyway. Let's move on. If you want me to talk more about that, let me know, because there's so many things to talk about there. All right, so remote working. If you have an employee base that's working from home, if they're not, you're in big trouble, but they're working from home now, they will continue to work from home. So focus on what you can do to maximize the value of those people working from home. Are they delivering the same levels of performance that they did when they were in the office? Because get rid of the office, just sell the office, right? You're paying an expensive lease for an office you don't need. Now, I know you would have argued with me before and said, no, Rob, we actually need it. That's where we do all our big, whatever it is, and we have pizza and we all see each other face to face. And I would have probably agreed with you at some point a month ago, but the whole world has changed now. The whole world, not just your company, you're right, not just the city, not just the country, the whole world. Like, we're virtual now, and we're not going back. Some people will go back, sure. And over time, we may gravitate a little bit more in that direction. But we've discovered we can do this now, right? We've discovered we can do virtual meetings. We've discovered that we can roll out of bed and be on a meeting in 5 minutes, right? And I don't need to be in traffic for an hour. So I see us moving more in that direction. And we're going to still be in this spot for a while. So I would look at how to maximize that. If you've got a customer service department, how do you maximize that, right? So I have to say the customer service for the transition for most of these companies has been terrible, right? And I'm sorry, but it has. And I don't know if it's your fault or not. I definitely think you could have done things better. But, overall, it's been pretty terrible. Do you have an online chat system? Maybe it's automated. Hopefully not. Maybe it's real people. But those are great. That's probably, if I have to deal with your customer service, I want an online chat person that I can just tell very briefly what my problem is, and then I walk away, I go get a coffee, I come back, and they've chatted something in there saying they're looking into it, they're going to fix it, right? Whenever I do that, it's great. When I have to talk to somebody on the phone, I'm on hold for like an hour with some companies. It's brutal. And the hold music is just like poking needles into my eyes. It's just the worst. So online chat's the way to go. They don't have to have perfect English. So they can be in some other country somewhere else where you can pay them half the amount of money, but it's great, right? It's all I need, and it's fast and easy. I can put in my stuff, go do something else. I come back, it's fixed. So online chat, if you don't have it already, small investment for huge value, right? So loyalty points. Nobody's traveling, so nobody's earning your loyalty points. So you need to change it. Change it quick, right? And there's so many things you can do. You want to develop your brand. You want to develop your online community. Start giving points out for that. Change your model. Change it today. Change it tomorrow. Change it quick, right? Because we're not going to jump on a plane tomorrow. So we need to not only get the emails from the CEO that nobody's reading about how you're going to, honor the loyalty points. Nobody cares. Just change it, right? And then announce that and start giving out points. So anyway, that's what I do. That's what I do. If I want to grow my base, get people excited about my brand again, because nobody's looking at your brand. That's the other thing, right? Nobody's thinking, oh, I'm going to use that brand when I do that in 6 months. I think very few people are thinking about that. But if I get an email saying, oh, I got another 100 points, right? How did I get 100 points? I didn't do anything. And you get another 100 if you do a blog post on our site, or if you go check out our new product line or whatever else like that, right? Get people excited again. Anyway. Yeah, so do things better, right? We need to adapt. If you have an existing business, look at what you can do. And there's so many options out there. It just makes my head hurt when I look at all these opportunities. All right, so what if you don't have a business now? What if you're just starting a business? We can adapt your existing business, but on a new business, whoo, man, it's even worse for me. It's just like, where do you start? Because there are so many. I think let's start off with a basic principle, right? So a business is in the business to make money, right? That's what you want to do. You want to make money. And that's what this video is about, how to make a lot of money. And starting a business right now, I think is a great idea, especially if you're now newly unemployed. You want to start making money as quickly as possible. So with a new business, it's difficult. But I think there's opportunities out there where you could make money tomorrow. Well, I know there is. I know that there's dozens of them, right? So what we want to do is figure out a solution to a problem that's not solved yet. That's what I would want to do. You can do a bunch of other things to make cash tomorrow. Like you can start delivering groceries for a large grocery chain and make, so many dollars per hour doing that. And sure, that's a great idea. I think that if I was unemployed, go do that. Make some money, get some food on the table. But what if you were to do it better, right? So delivering the groceries to people, just pick them up, build a website where you can take orders, but do it better. And there's so many things you could do better, right? You could text them when you drop it off. You could disinfect the package for them. You could have disposable packaging. You could have, so you take a camera into the store and you're videotaping the produce that you're picking up for them. And they can say, no, don't pick up that apple, it's rotten, right? All sorts of things like that for people. And I don't know if that's a great idea or not, but you know what I mean? There's so many opportunities. Because our world has changed and gone upside down overnight, basically, right? So we're just going to rattle through a bunch of them, pick whatever one you like. Parenting. We're all at home right now trying to parent our kids. We've never spent so much time together, right? It's crazy. I've got 2 boys in the room next door. I'm being a dad full time now, plus I'm working from home, right? So it's that dynamics. And I'm changing rules every day as I'm kind of, adapting to the situation. What if there was like a consulting thing for parenting or something around how to deal with kids during a pandemic or any of those sort of services, some sort of educational service that would complement what they're doing or not doing in school, like anything around parenting. And then also kind of related to that, anything around students, right? So my kids are doing, they're schooling from home now, but it's not like, it's okay. I think it's better than most probably. So I'm thankful for that, but it's like a half a day. So it seems kind of weak. So I think there's lots of things that could layer on top of that, right? Maybe it's like a virtual PE class. Maybe it's, my kid did a scavenger hunt yesterday, which was through school. Great idea. What if that's all you did? And it was a subscription service and parents would sign up their kids up to it. So every day they had a new scavenger hunt, a new trivia thing, a new whatever like that, right? That was kind of educational. something that would deliver more than just video games and Netflix, right? So huge opportunities there, super easy to set up. You could just do it like this if you wanted and just talk to a bunch of people and do it. So now that leads me actually into content creators, kind of like what I'm doing, right? Where there's no startup cost really. I'm using my MacBook Pro and my storage room / office, which I'm trying to clean up and make a little better for you guys to look at. But you get what I'm saying, right? It's like super low cost startup, and you can start pumping out content, trial and error, see what works, and eventually move to a model where you might make money. I mean, it's really hard to make money at this, but if you enjoy doing it, maybe that's a hobby that could eventually turn into a company and a business, right? But there's lots of other ways that you could actually make money on this. I think big money-making areas would be doing content for people to get trained on how to get a new job. I think that would be one that I would recommend right away. How to do an interview, how to write a resume, all that sort of stuff. I think could do really well, but there's tons of others, right? Everybody's at home right now, so everybody's not commuting, so people have time to go learn a language, to learn a hobby, whatever it is. So there's huge demand for content creators. So that leads me to other more practical areas that I think are done really poorly, but could be done so much better. Examples of that are virtual tutoring. So I wanted to learn a language. I wanted to get a little bit better at that. I always like interacting with new people. So I thought, well, I wonder if there's any online language people that could tutor me. And I was actually thinking about it while I was driving to work, to have that video conference while I'm driving to work. Maybe it's a little bit dangerous to do, but now it should be even more in demand, right? So if you can speak multiple languages, maybe that's something you want to sign up for, or maybe start that company. I know there's some out there already, but anything virtual, like virtual conferences for speakers. All the conferences I was going to are all canceled, right? So there's a bunch of virtual ones now that are set up. And I think that's a great idea. I don't know how good they are. I think there's lots of room to expand on that and make it a very rich experience. And those can actually make a fair bit of money, right? So if you're doing online training or online conferences, there's money to be made there. And you can basically do it today if you've got a computer. So, there's that. Art shows, virtual art shows, or anything like that you could do, right? So that whole sector of virtual events. There's an infrastructure set up out there for that. Eventbrite is great for tickets and things like that. It's super easy to set up. So I think anybody, no matter how much computer experience you have, could go and do something like that, right? So I would highly recommend taking a look at that. Deliveries, of course. So if you want to look at a new business, I think there's huge potential in the delivery service. Deliveries now take forever. It's really hard to find product. So let's say you want eggs or flour or meat. In where I live right now, those things are, toilet paper actually is a good one too, right? I would like toilet paper. I don't want to go look for what store has toilet paper. I don't want to go to the store and buy the toilet paper. I don't want to stand in line for it. I don't want to do any of that. I want the Amazon Prime experience where toilet paper is sitting at my door the minute I want it, right? Well, not the minute, but you know what I mean, right? The same day. So why don't you do that? Be the toilet paper delivery person, right? Charge me double and I will buy it. Not everybody will, but a lot of people will because they can't find the toilet paper. So maybe you want to set up something for, if you want to be really cool, set up something for like senior homes or something like that where, they don't want to go out. I don't want them to go out. I don't want them to get infected. Maybe you set up a deal and don't rip them off, right? But set up a deal with those or with schools or something or hospitals where you're delivering to those places that are high risk and you're delivering what they need and you deliver a whole bunch of it. And maybe you don't make a lot of money, but maybe you do all the hospitals, all the schools, all the seniors homes in the city or something like that, right? That just came to me just now. But if you could do something at scale, and that's a big problem that nobody's solved right now, I don't think, right? So maybe they have, but I just haven't seen it. But I think something like that where you're solving a big problem that we see today with a great service like that. So I think that would be pretty interesting. Health and fitness, any sort of virtual gym class. Of course, that's really popular right now. I see a few people getting, making good money off of that and delivering a good service. I keep saying making a lot of money because that's what people care about quite often, right? Especially if you just lost your job, you care about, making money. But it's delivering a good service is what you're doing, and you're going to make a lot of money from that. So Diet and cooking. So any sort of cooking shows right now. Like how many of us have made bread over the last month? All of us, right? We're all making bread. I don't know why, but so we're Googling how do I make bread and all these new recipes because we're spending more time with the family. We want to do more of those sort of things. So start a YouTube channel on how to cook whatever, right? Maybe you have a certain nationality like Chinese food or Indian food that you want to show how to do that. The world's going to tune in, right? If you make it look nice, you're gonna get a lot of views. So, and maybe you can sell a cookbook even or something like that. So a lot of options there. Food distribution, that's a big one. So I spoke a little bit about that, but where do I get all those things I can't get in the grocery store anymore? And I really think that that's going to become a bigger problem, right? So restaurants are not buying food because nobody's going to the restaurants, right? So where's that food going? It's not going to well, it is actually going to my house. Well, that's a different video. But it's not going to everybody's house. And so how do you divert the logistics channels like that, right? And get involved in that sort of business. I think that's a huge business that could really take off, right? There's some, if you're not in that sector, it's going to be difficult for you, but I think it's worthwhile taking a look at. Any sort of community now, it's an amazing time to build these community platforms with companies, and because everybody's online right now. Everybody's online all day. So I would really expect that to take off quite a bit. The other thing that I see people doing a lot right now, because we're at home and they're worried about food shortages, is the gardening thing. So anything to do with gardening, how to do gardening, be a gardening consultant, sell flowers or tomatoes or whatever, sell seeds. Actually, the seed sellers sold out. I had to put a hold on it in my neighborhood anyway. So, that's obviously doing really well, good business. The gaming sector has anything to do with gaming, I think, as well. So if you're in the video game area, you want to make video games, you want to be a video game consultant, you want to stream live playing video games, I think that's probably going to be more in demand than it ever was. Any sort of consultant. I think the consulting business is often overlooked, right? So helping people be more successful in whatever area they want to be successful in, I think is a great area. So, pandemic consultant, I think would be probably a good thing for most companies at this point, right? Do they have a disaster recovery plan? Do they have a business continuity plan? Are they in sort of any position where they're liable because they're not giving their employees proper protection? Are they not with the communications around all that, right? You could become a pandemic consultant pretty quickly, I think, right? Because most of us have pretty good common sense, but I don't know if every company really knows how to deal with this. So, that would be something interesting to look at. And if you got laid off due to the pandemic, becoming a pandemic consultant is kind of ironic, right? And I think that people would appreciate the irony there, because you can talk about the experience of coming out of a company and teach companies how to deal with that, and also employees as well. So, definitely an opportunity there if it's done right, I think. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about some other stuff where you could make money. And the obvious one for me, and it's still a little bit early, so you still have lots of time for this, is real estate. What we saw pretty much globally, I think, especially where I live, but pretty much everywhere else, we saw the real estate market going up and up and up, and everybody kept saying, "Oh, the bubble's going to burst, prices are going to collapse," and it never did. It just kept going up. It would slow down a little bit sometimes, but it kept going up. I think that what we're going to see is prices probably come down. And I never thought I would say that. I never thought I would say real estate is actually going to decrease in price. And it's hard for me to believe, but I think it actually will. I think we're going to see, because what's going to happen is we're going to see companies go under. We're going to see people get laid off, and not everybody's going to go back to work right away. And that's going to cause some people to have to sell their house rather than buying a house or a condo or whatever it is, townhouse, whatever it is. So, and I think that's going to be the case not only for residential, but also for commercial. So I think that whatever you're into, there will be opportunities due to foreclosures and people just liquidating and stuff like that. So I think that we're probably, that's more long-term. I would say you're probably 6 months to a year away from that, maybe sooner. But I think that there will be opportunities there if you still have income, if you still have some money for down payment, if you are in the market. I would think the timing for that would be any time from pretty soon to a year out. And definitely within the next 12 months, we are going to see some activity there, is my forecast. And, you know, you're listening to a Get Rich Quick pandemic video by yours truly. And I have not been wrong yet on this pandemic stuff. And I don't usually toot my own horn, but, you know, I was talking to you 3 months ago about what this was going to look like, and I have not been wrong yet. You know, sometimes I'll tell you I don't know all the answers, especially about some of the science about being infected and some of the ways you can be healthy. And I'll tell you what I don't know. But as far as what we should expect from the markets, I really believe that if you watch the real estate market, we may have a unique opportunity here coming up pretty soon. So as sad as that is, right, and if you've lost your house or you're going to lose your house, and any of us could, right, like nobody's going to be, you know, 100% safe from that. It's very sad, and I made videos on how people can try to recover that way. I'm not taking away from the seriousness of that, but it is also an opportunity if you are a buyer. So there's that. So foreclosures, that's the next one I want to get into. Is we're going to see this with both business and personal, not just real estate, but all sorts of assets. So if you're in the market for a good used forklift, you know, stand by, because you'll probably be able to buy one of those, or a boat, you know, or a warehouse, or whatever. And we've seen this before during other big events like 9/11. We saw this, and I saw it all over the world. It wasn't just New York. New York had a bunch of head offices, and that shut down because they didn't have the disaster recovery set up for businesses around the world. And it was in my city as well. So no matter where you are, you're going to probably see assets get onto the market. And it could be anything like gym equipment, computer equipment, machinery, vehicles, whatever. So if you're in the market for those things and you want to buy a new one or maybe a used one, or you want to resell some of those things, then I think that there is great opportunity there. I think this would probably be one of the biggest recommendations I would look at, is the purchasing of liquidated assets. And if you know the company, if you know people in the company, go talk to the people and talk to them about what they're going to do with their assets. Because quite often, you know, those assets will already be paid for sometimes, or sometimes they're just going to abandon it. There's a bunch of different things going on there. So if you give them a rock price on stuff, they will probably take it. Worst they're going to do is say no. But if you say, okay, for your 10 vehicles there, I'm going to give you this much money, or for your, you know, 5 servers, or your 6 staplers, or your whatever it is, right? Your 200 light bulbs, whatever it is, you can get that for pennies on the dollar, and then eBay it or whatever, and you could make a lot of money. So I would highly recommend, if you know companies that are not doing well and they're going to close down, go talk to them and work something out if you can. So yeah, I can't underestimate that enough. So, all right, so lots of opportunities. What did I miss? I know I missed a ton of stuff, and you know, maybe we'll make another video on that. But if you have ideas, if I missed something obvious, please put it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you on this, and I'm sure everybody else would as well. So please just drop a note down below. What are you thinking about as an opportunity to make more money or due to this pandemic thing? And I don't want to hear about, you know, you're selling masks at 20 times the price. I don't want to hear about that. I don't think it's ethical. I don't think that's really a good way to get rich, to make money. I think there's so many other better ways of doing it. Delivering food to the hospitals, right? That is a great way to make money, and it helps everybody out. So those are the sort of things that I think we can do. We don't have to cheat people with this. We don't have to do anything bad to make a lot of money in this opportunity, right? We can help people as well as making, you know, decent money. So let me know what you think. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to be alerted to new content that I'm doing, please hit the subscribe button, and I'd really appreciate that. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you very much, and stay safe out there, all right?